to the clouds. Okay, I'm going to let them all in. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for getting up so early on a Sunday morning and coming to hang out with us while we do a little bit of cooking. So I'm Odette, and I am going to be taking you on this little journey this morning. And I have got the lovely Brydie Morrison, Lonnie Patterson, and Paula Kilkelly who are going to be cooking today. And so we actually had a lot of interest in this class. And so I guess that means it's not just us who are giving our age away by how excited we are about this little book. And so the theme of our class today is the Women's Weekly Children's Birthday Cake Book. And I've actually got mine here. This nifty little book was first published in 1980. So we are actually giving our ages away when we say how excited we were about birthdays and this book. And yeah, I don't know about you guys, but every year my mum used to give me this book about a week before my birthday, and she used to say, choose your birthday cake. And yeah, I don't know, I had quite a few of the cakes in here. So what I'd love for you guys to do is down the bottom of the screen, there is a chat box, and I'd love for you to click on the chat box and pop your name in the chat box, where in New Zealand you are coming to us from, and which your favorite cake was from the Women's Weekly Children's Birthday Cake Book, because I reckon everybody had a favorite. Brydie, what was your favorite?
Definitely the doll cake.
Oh, I love that one, the doll cake.
Without a doubt.
Excellent. What about you, Lonnie? Favorite cake?
Mine's definitely the bunny. I had it for my first birthday, and I made it for my first child's birthday too.
Oh, I love that. What about you, Paula?
Mine was the duck, because he's so
with the chips in its mouth. The chip lips. Yeah. I love it. I actually, Bianca said she loved the pool cake. I loved the pool cake too. That was my favorite one. I think just because of the jelly. Somebody messaged me yesterday and said, why green jelly in the pool? Like, nobody wants a green pool. And so, yeah, definitely the pool cake for me. And so we are going to be showing you today how you can use your Thermomix to make recreating these cakes even easier. And we're going to talk about how you can even make some of the other components that are needed for this cake, things like marshmallows and lollipops, etc., how you can make those in your Thermomix. So it's no surprise then, Lonnie and Paula, that you guys are making the bunny cake, because that was Lonnie's favorite. And Brydie is going to be showing you how to make just the classic sponge cake and the buttercream. So I think we're going to head over to Brydie first. And Brydie, for those of us who don't know you, I'll get you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you before you start baking.
Thanks, Odette. Hi, everyone. I'm Brydie Morrison. I'm based in Blenheim. I'm currently down the Sounds in my parents' kitchen, though. So, of course, my whole family has Thermomixes, and we've got a wee business on our bench. So, really, really flexible. And I didn't really need to bring too much, which is fabulous. So, I'm just whipping up a basic vanilla sponge cake today, which you can use for, obviously, any of the cakes in the fabulous book. And yeah, I would love to know as we go along. I'm just going to put them into round cake tins from the mix shop. They are awesome, all ready to go. But I do have quite a selection of cake tins from the mix shop. I love them all. But yeah, I'd love to know what you would use this basic sponge cake for as well. So for those of you, I'll just pop out of my recipe. For those of you who haven't seen a Thermomix before, I'll just show you the screen. We've got 3 circles on the home screen for the time, the temperature, and the speed of the blade. And then the blade actually goes sharp on one side and blunt on the other, so that you can easily stir gently or stir while cooking without mushing up your food for things like risotto and things like that. Then, I know you can't see my screen, but I'll just explain. When you swipe your whole screen right to left, it comes up with a whole lot of preset modes. These are amazing. They get updated via Wi-Fi. The whole machine connects to Wi-Fi, and they add really cool things here and there. So a lot of them are actually new since I got my machine in 2019. So we've got an egg boiler, a fermentation mode, a kettle mode where you heat to a target temperature. And yeah, of course, they keep adding along the way, which is incredible. So the machine itself connects to a website called Cookie Do, which Odette is going to give you a really good overview about soon. But basically, I have gone onto the Cookie Do website. I found the recipe that I want to make today, and I've added it to my weekly planner. It hasn't popped up, so that's just epic. I'm going to search on the machine. So if
I feel like sometimes it's because of the time zone, because here in New Zealand, we are so far ahead in everything, including time, that sometimes it thinks we're in, the day before. So
and I am down the Melbourne Sounds, could have just not
exactly
Wi-Fi or whatever. You can actually, if I was a little bit more organised and it wasn't like 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, you can go in and save the recipe to your own collection, and then they will actually be saved in your machine. So if you happen to go somewhere without Wi-Fi, they'll still pop up. But this one is called Vanilla Sponge Layer Cake, and we will show you all the recipes. But this one just looked really straightforward, and it only takes about half an hour to cook. So I was like, that's the one for me.
I've actually popped the link to that cake into the chat box if anybody wants to click on it, and they can save it to a collection in the Cookie Do.
That's awesome. Thank you. So it's just asked me to preheat the oven. I had to ask my mum how to turn her oven on, but we have ticked all those boxes. And it's just asked me to grease and line my cake tins. I didn't have my really cool, on the mix shop, you can actually get cake tin liners, and they're perfectly sized for your mix shop cake tins. And I actually earned them as a consultant once, and I was like, I don't need these. Like, I can just cut my own baking paper up. And honestly, I'm addicted. They're like the best things you could buy. Please get them. They're amazing. So it's asking me to pop in 200 grams of butter, unsalted. It says unsalted, we're just using salted. And
so for those of you who don't have a Thermomix, what's actually happened is the scales have popped up. So Brydie didn't need a separate set of kitchen scales. She could just kind of weigh directly into the bowl, which is super handy.
Exactly, thank you. So yeah, really, really specific scales. If you've got a TM5, you'll know that they weigh in 5 gram increments, and the new machines, the TM6, weigh in 1 gram increments. So really, really specific, which is handy if you're making something that's quite technical. So meringues or macarons or something like that, you're always going to get it perfect. And now it's just asking me for 200 grams of caster sugar. I have pre-weigh, but I'm still going to be careful and just sort of weigh it in as I go.
So I'll share a handy little tip with you guys. I don't ever buy caster sugar. I just buy normal sugar. And if you pop the sugar into your Thermomix and you mill it for 5 seconds at speed 10, you will actually have caster sugar.
Yeah, so good, right? Now, it's actually going to start creaming the butter and sugar. I get a lot of questions about whether the Thermomix can do that. So I'm just going to show you. I might go a little bit quiet for 20 seconds, but I'll just pop that on.
So I often, with the recipes, it'll ask for room temperature butter, and I'm sometimes not that organized in terms of getting my butter out of the fridge. And so if you are using butter that's a little bit colder, you may find that you have to add a little bit of time to the creaming. So you might do this step and then scrape it down and then go back and maybe do it again, just to make up for the fact that your butter's not room temperature. I was just talking about how sometimes I'm not a good planner or header.
Yeah, so true. I was just thinking too, like at the end of each step, the Thermomix will automatically stop itself because it's all pre-timed. And then you'll get a little alarm, the jingle. If you are a new owner and that jingle is driving you crazy, you can actually change the duration of that sound so it only goes for 10 seconds or 30 seconds. So we've just started creaming that butter and sugar. It's just like a magic trick. And it's asking me to pop the butterfly whisk in. So this is exciting. So all I do is just sit the butterfly whisk in the middle of the blades there. There's a nice little, yeah, you'll feel when it fits. If you ever happen to pop your whisk on and let it go about speed 4, then the whisk can topple off. It's not a drama. You just press the big grey speed selector button, the silver button there, and the machine will automatically stop for you. So now it's just asking me to go straight in with my self-raising flour, which I shall do.
Another great tip, if you run out of self-raising flour, is there is actually a recipe in Cookie Dough for self-raising flour, and it is using plain flour and I believe a little bit of baking powder and salt. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I know because I ran out of self-raising flour and then I was like, hang on a second. So yeah, I love that you can make all those, you know, base recipes or those base ingredients with your Thermomix.
Totally. Lonnie made baking powder the other day and I thought,
I know, I saw, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the best way to make sure that it's fully gluten-free as well, and just use what you've got. So, and you can make it paleo or whatever your dietary requirements are. So I'm just using regular baking powder. I actually am allergic to most of the things in this recipe. So someone's going to get a nice cake gifted to them. And just a little tip with the, whenever I use baking powder and baking soda, I always, even if the recipe doesn't have it in it, I just pop in a little splash of apple cider vinegar just to activate it. And I find it always softens the taste of the baking soda or the baking powder.
You just taught me something that I did not know, Brydie.
Well, there is a scientific reason. Lonnie might know, but yeah, we'll have to look it up. But yeah, it's definitely a real thing. So just vanilla.
So if you are lucky enough to have access to some vanilla beans, or you're able to buy some vanilla beans, you can make the vanilla paste in your Thermomix as well. And homemade vanilla paste is just the bomb, really. So much nicer than stuff.
I'm just going to what's that for 30 seconds. Perfect.
And so, guys, remember with your butterfly, you cannot go over speed 4. You will chop it to 1,000,000 pieces. They're about $25. Ask me how I know. I feel like everybody chops up one butterfly. But yeah, when you are in guided cooking, Cookie Dough will never tell you to go over speed 4. It's always going to be speed 3 or speed 4 with your butterfly. And as Brydie said, the best place for it, you've got high blades and low blades. The high ones are higher up. And if you just pop your butterfly just to the left of your high blade, that's the most stable place for it. And if it comes off, don't panic. Just stop your Thermomix by pressing the big silver knob, just like a treadmill. Push the button and the Thermomix will stop.
I didn't know that a treadmill had an emergency stop.
It does. I know, because I've had to use it many times. The emergency stop.
Oh my gosh, but you see so many things on Instagram of like people.
Yeah, it's because they didn't press the emergency stop
Maybe
button.
they didn't know. I hope they're watching this virtual.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
Perfect. All whipped up. And now it's, yeah, just asking me to remove the butterfly whisk and pop it in my tin. So easy as that. Amazing.
So are you using 2 tins, Brydie, and dividing it between? So one of the things I like to do when I'm dividing between 2 tins is you can actually pop the tin on the base of your Thermomix and then zero it, so tear it, and then you can actually weigh evenly, so you can put the same amount into each tin. Because I know for me, when I eyeball it, I end up with one layer that's super thick and then one layer that's like really teeny.
Yeah,
so that's what I always do.
And you can, like I'm in the middle of the recipe and I've actually just hit the home button and then swiped across and brought out my scales, and it's holding my place in the recipe. So when I'm finished using the scales, I just hit the little book icon and it'll take me straight back there.
Easy.
So we pop over to Paula while I
so I'll keep you spotlighted and I'll add Paula, and so everybody can see you popping your batter into those rose gold pans, and then Paula can tell us what she's making. You can introduce yourself as well, Paula.
Hi, I am Paula. I am a consultant on Lonnie's team, but I've actually moved from Nelson to the West Coast now. And we are actually in my sister's kitchen because we did a little demo together, a cooking class together yesterday. So that was cool. I am going to be making the basic carrot cake recipe. I love it because it is I think it's the easiest cake in the world. You basically throw everything in 15 seconds, another 15, and then it's in your tin in an oven. There's no peeling the carrots, there's no grating the carrots, everything just gets thrown in there. So I'm all for easy. Because we're fussing around and doing the bunny, we're going to be taking our time icing it. So we want the cake to be super fast, and that can be the easy part, and we can spend a bit more time decorating. So I've just brought the recipe up. The other reason I really like this cake is because I can change it quite significantly to be dairy-free, to be gluten-free, to be keto with the same recipe, just changing out some of the ingredients. So it's a real basic cake, but you can change it really easy. So I will just start cooking here.
So I have popped the link up into the chat box again, and this is not a Cookie Do Australia or New Zealand recipe. This is actually a Cookie Do UK recipe. So if you're trying to find this recipe and you can't find it, it's probably because your filters are set to Australia. And it is always a good idea with Cookie Do to remove all the countries and instead to pop on the languages. So English, and if you're lucky enough to have a second or a third language, you can pop the other languages in there too. We'll just expand how many recipes you have access to.
Cool. So I put the carrots in there, and I've just cut them into pieces like this. And like I said, I didn't peel them, skin and all in there. Then it's 3 large eggs going. So it's asking for 350 grams of brown sugar. You can make brown sugar on your Thermomix, like Odette was saying about the caster sugar. You can also make brown sugar. You can use coconut sugar in this one if you wanted to do paleo, and I'm going to use allulose, which makes it basically a sugar-free, keto-friendly one. So I'm just going to measure that in. Sorry.
It's interesting because I think a lot of people learned that they could make brown sugar in their Thermomix over lockdown because we had that big shortage of everything, and we suddenly had to be really crafty about what we could make because we couldn't actually buy it anymore.
And I'm going to do a little bit less sugar as well too, which it works. I've made this cake so many times, you can definitely play around with it. It does work perfectly the way it says as well. Now, this is another step where it's asking for sour cream, creme fraiche. I've done it with coconut cream before, and I've also done it with yogurt. I've used whatever I've got in the fridge, and I don't have any of those things. So I made the ones last night and I used cream and it was perfect. So I'm just going to go 50 grams of cream. A little bit over. Next is it's asking for 160 grams of sunflower oil. Now I always use a light olive oil instead, and you could use melted coconut oil if you wanted to. It all does the same thing. Pop that in. This is a really nice moist cake. And I think that is the high oil content that makes it nice and moist. Pop that in. Sorry, I didn't pre-measure. There we go.
So Brydie has just popped her cakes into the oven. And how long do those bake for, Brydie?
Just half an hour.
That's perfect.
I actually decided there wasn't a lot of mixture for 2 tins, so I've just popped it in one.
Perfect.
I'm going to actually put my bowl on pre-clean, so you'll see after I put it through pre-clean in a moment.
All right. So the last step, I think, well, not quite, is the flour. So again, it's asking for wholemeal flour. I've actually used a mix of gluten-free and almond meal. I have done this cake fully almond meal before as well, and it works. So it's a pretty good one for changing around. So when I made the cakes last night to assemble the bunny that we're going to do, I did a double mixture, and that was enough to fill 2 small tins for the head and the body, and then a larger tin that we're going to cut for his ears. So just twice the cake. So you can double the mixture if you want to.
So the rule of thumb when you are increasing quantities or decreasing quantities, for those of you who don't know, is to add 20 seconds or subtract 20 seconds from the time. So the mixing time, you'd add 20%, not 20 seconds. So if it was mix for 20 seconds, you would add an extra 20%, which is an extra 4 seconds. So you definitely can increase your quantities. Just make sure that you don't go above the max line in your bowl.
So I'm just adding the spices. I just added a teaspoon of baking soda, and now I'm going to add the spices, which is half a teaspoon of nutmeg and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And some little bit of salt. You don't want to just pop a little salt. Thank you. A little bit of salt there. And then this is it. So that was just all weighing all those ingredients in nice and easy with the scales, not having to cream butter, sugar, anything like this. It's the easiest cake in the world. So press next, and we're going to go 15 seconds at speed 5.
I have actually never seen this cake, and I'm a little bit blown away by how you just chuck everything in and then just blitz it all up. That's pretty cool. She can't hear me, but everybody else can hear me. No, that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying how impressed I am. I've never seen this cake where you just put everything in and then just blitz it. That's genius.
It's so genius.
Oh, good.
I can be a little bit of a lazy cook sometimes. Like
I feel you.
But I like easy things as well. And I mean, look at that. It's
Oh,
all great.
that's very cool.
Yeah. So it does tell me to whiz it another 15 minutes, 15 seconds, sorry.
Yeah, you'd have pretty smooth batter if you whisked it for 15 minutes.
So one more time, sorry, noisy again. And then we're done.
Very cool.
All right, and then I'm going to pop it in the pan. I don't have the mix shop tin here because I'm at my sister's house, so she needs to get on the mix shop and get some nice tins. But this one,
I was just going to say, at least you've got good options for birthdays and Christmas and all those sorts of things, because you can just get her some rose gold stuff.
Yeah, that's true. So
the beauty of the rose gold, of course, is that it is non-stick. And I don't know about you, I still grease my rose gold when I'm doing cakes. I don't for muffins and things, but for cakes I always grease it because just don't want to chance it. But
yeah,
do you grease them, or do you trust the?
I just line it with a bit of baking paper, even though you don't have to.
No, yeah. So I guess it depends how much how trusting you are of these things. I mean, they are non-stick, which is the cool thing about them, and they also bake evenly because of the rose gold.
All right, I'll pop that in the oven.
So how long does that one bake for?
So it's 60 to 75 minutes. Now this is interesting because it tells you to pop foil over the top. I've never done it, ever. But I'll show you the baked cakes. They are beautiful. So I just skip that and just bake it for about 45 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. And just check it with a skewer and make sure.
Yeah.
That's the thing with gluten-free flour. Sometimes it can just take a little bit longer, maybe 5 minutes longer. It's longer, so it's always good to do it.
And when you're in a different kitchen, that's not your oven too. Like they can be temperamental, like just different. So I always use the time as a guide, but check.
Excellent. So while that's happening, we have the lovely Lonnie who's going to introduce herself and tell us what she's baking.
Hi, so I'm Lonnie. Thanks, Odette. I am the team leader in Nelson, but I do have a few people speckled around the country on our team, hence why we're down in the West Coast with Paula at the moment. We had a cooking class here yesterday and it was lovely. It was a lovely turnout, a beautiful West Coast day, and we're right at Lake Brunner, so it's really, really nice. So we're, sorry, I'll just move this around here so you can see me on this side because I'm using this machine. We've got the black and the white today, which is kind of cool.
I was just going to say, they look so good together, like next to each other.
They do. They absolutely do. I'm making the cream cheese frosting today from Cookie Dough. There are several cream cheese frostings in there. Well, there's a cream cheese icing. There's often if you make a carrot cake in there, there's the icing as part of the recipe. This is my go-to. I make it for everything. And obviously you'll see today I do a few little tweaks to it, but it seems to turn out pretty good every time.
This is my favorite cream cheese frosting as well. You cannot go wrong with cream cheese frosting. I feel like, yeah, the best.
The cool thing about these cakes as well is you can use whatever cake you like. You can use whatever icing you like and assemble it. So we're still going to have a beautiful little white bunny, but yeah, with the cream cheese frosting, because Paula and I are particularly partial to cream cheese frosting. So
I love how in the Women's Weekly, there's always, for all the recipes, they're like a box of cake mix. So clearly they did not have a Thermomix, the people who wrote this cookbook, because they used lots of boxes of cake mix.
Oh, I'm so glad we're not living the box life.
I reckon.
So this recipe will probably make enough for one cake. I'm going to do it 1.5 times in here, and I'm actually going to do it in the other machine as well, so that we've got 3 times the amount of cream cheese. I have doubled it and tripled it in the bowl before, but it is a lot harder to get it really smooth so we don't have lumps of butter in there. So I recommend if you are doing a huge cake and you're making icing in the Thermomix, I would make each batch, because it's so quick. Make a batch, put it in a bowl, make another batch, put it in a bowl, as opposed to doubling it. You can probably get away with 1.5 times, which is what I'm going to do. So I'll just grab another bowl for this other machine.
And this, my friends, is the joy of having more than one bowl for your Thermomix. So I reckon a spare bowl is almost as good as having a spare Thermomix. And yeah, if you can, I know that they're not cheap, but it's definitely a good investment to grab a second bowl for your Thermomix if you can.
I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be without a second bowl. It's seriously game changing. Okay, so I've just brought it up on both machines and I'll just do it at the same time. It's asking for 250 grams of cream cheese. So just a little tip, make sure it's a full fat cream cheese. Light cream cheese kind of makes it a bit runny. It doesn't set and go as firm as well. Same with spreadable. Don't go for a spreadable cream cheese. Go for a good quality full fat one. So I'm using Meadow Fresh. That was the cheapest at the supermarket yesterday. I really like the Philadelphia one. It's got the least additives. But yeah, like I said, this was cheaper yesterday. I actually like the flavour of this one. And we're going to do 1.5 times. So I'll just divide another one into 2. I'll give you some troubleshooting tips too with the cream cheese icing. If the cream cheese and the butter are too cold or too hot, you will get curdling. So I got up about 8 o'clock this morning and took them out of the fridge, and they've just been sitting here on the bench since 8 o'clock. So a couple of hours to bring them up to room temperature. You want the butter to sort of make an indent if you touch it, but you don't want it melted. So we go next. It's pretty good. I didn't measure them out, and they were pretty much even, 370 and 379. So 180 grams of butter cut into pieces.
I love how good you've become at rocking the everything with Lillian strapped to you, and she's so chilled out. Like is she sleeping?
Yeah,
she's
sleeping now. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe. Yeah, she's been doing this since she was in the womb, Odette.
I reckon.
Right. A little bit over with the butter, but that's okay. So normally you would add ice and sugar. Because Paula and I are eating it ourselves and we don't like to eat a lot of sugar, we are going to put in some fibre syrup. So I've done this with maple syrup before. Maple syrup is beautiful in cream cheese icing, gives it a good flavour. So it's asked for 330 grams of ice and sugar. I'd pour in about a third to a half of a third to a half of a cup for one batch. So I probably will do, close to 2/3 of a cup. And I'm just going to go by feel. I will weigh it just so you can know how much I put in. This is maple flavoured fibre syrup. I'd probably put about half this jar in. So maybe 200 grams. We'll try that anyway. I just go by taste. So once we've it up, we will know if it's...
And I feel like the thing with this frosting is that you can always taste it and then add more sweetener, but you can't add less sweetener. So you're better to, you know, go slow and then add more if you need it.
This is true. The only thing with cream cheese frosting is we don't want to overbeat it.
Yeah.
So once it's all come together, it's quite hard to add more sweetener in later without overbeating it. So you do want to get it pretty bang on, but yeah, not an issue to kind of just use the spatula to stir in a little bit. Cool. So now it's asking for vanilla essence, teaspoon in each. You could actually add lemon juice if you wanted to add a little bit of lemon juice to it, just to give it a zestier sort of a flavour, a fresher sort of flavour. With lemon juice, it can go a little bit runny. So if you get runny cream cheese, pop it in the fridge for about half an hour, and then it usually firms up to a nice spreadable sort of a consistency. So now I'm just going to, it says 50 seconds at speed 5. I keep an eye on it through the whole, so I'll leave the measuring cup out and keep an eye on it, and just, you know, every few seconds stop it and scrape it down. What we want is no butter in little lumps, but at the same time you don't want to overbeat it. So we just keep a real close eye on it. I'm going to go around to speed 5 for about 10 seconds. Maybe 20 seconds. Just stop it. I'll show you how it's come together so far. What it's looking like at the moment. So I'll just give it a wee scrape down, especially because we're doing 1.5 times. You can see there's still some lumps in there. And then we'll just go back round to speed 5 again. Oh. Can use the spatula as well to help push it around the blades.
And that's the great thing about the Thermomix spatula, is that it has that guard, so you can put it through the hole in the lid. You don't do this with a normal spatula because you'll chop the end off of it. But as you can see, Lonnie's just using it to help stir, and that's especially helpful when your bowl is quite full. So Lonnie, Jackie has asked in the chat box, she wants to do a gluten-free sponge. So she's thinking a retro sponge roll with berry curd. Any tips on turning a cookie dough sponge to a gluten-free sponge?
There is one in cookie dough, Jackie. There's one, it's got a blue icing on the picture. I don't know.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. So do I search for sponge?
It's gluten-free sponge, that's what it's called.
Gluten-free sponge. Let me
I
see
haven't
if
made
I
it
can find
personally,
it.
but my friend Rosa has, and she did it for one of the girls' birthday parties recently, and it was beautiful.
Is it the one where it's got icing and then it's got blue decorations on it? Okay, Jackie, I'm going to pop this into the chat box for you. I have found it. Gluten-free sponge. There you go.
There's another one that only uses 30 grams of flour as well, and I've just used gluten-free flour for that. I'll try and find it.
Cool. So this one that I've popped in the chat box actually has a cream cheese frosting with it as well. So that's quite good. It's 2-in-1.
This is looking much better. You can see how it's getting nice. So you do want to make sure there are no lumps in it. Like I said before, I'll probably give that another whiz. So it's finished the 50 seconds, but you'll remember I did it 1.5 times. So I might go back and do another 10 seconds or so. Sometimes it takes less than the 50 seconds. It really depends on the softness of your butter. It's quite a cold.
It probably quite depends on the temperature as well. Like in summer, you probably don't need to beat it as much. And then in winter, when it's freezing.
Exactly. So just a tip with cream cheese, if it is summertime, it can slide around cake layers. It's not a super stable icing. So if you're doing cake in the summer, I would probably go towards more of a buttercream, especially for filling a cake, and then icing over top of that with the cream cheese. It does make for a more stable cake. Also, if it is too runny, this is looking perfect because it's not too hot here. If it is too runny, you can add extra tapioca starch to it, or tapioca flour, up to about half of a cup, and that will help thicken up your icing without changing the flavour at all. Also, if you added something like cocoa to the icing, same thing, it will thicken it up. And like I said before, you can put it in the fridge for half an hour to thicken it up too. So yeah, I reckon another 10 seconds with this. How are you going, Brydie?
Good, thanks. I'm all set to go with my buttercream, but yeah, I'll do that while you guys are icing your cake, so we don't awkwardly watch you do the whole thing.
Good. So Paula has actually got a cake that she made last night, and she is going to show you how you put the bunny together.
So I've done it.
I've just finished this too.
Ooh,
so that's
yum.
another 5 seconds on top.
Yep.
Maybe if we clear that.
I might clear this.
Yeah. So I did a double mixture. Can you see me? Sorry, I did a double mixture.
Oh, it looks so cute.
It filled 2 smaller tins and then one of the bigger 25. So like 2 21 ones and then a 25 cake. So the 2 smaller ones are his head and his body. I just wanted to just show you how moist that is. I just tried a piece and it's so delicious.
I feel like you really love saying moist, Paula. Like you've thrown it in there a few times, and usually people avoid that word, but you're just like
when you're
chucking it out, moist.
Yeah, honestly, cakes should be moist. That's beautiful. Anyway, so as you can see, so the bigger tin, it is a little bit hard to see, and I wish I could put them up a little bit.
I'm going to see if I can actually hold up my picture and show them what it looks like. Let me add myself so I can show them the add spotlight. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to. No, it doesn't like it.
Yeah, he's already looking really cute without his icing on. He already looks really cute. It might be a little bit. You can see a little bit better. I don't want it all to slide off. So if you Google this recipe or you have the Women's Weekly recipe book, it does tell you how to cut the pieces perfectly. Oh. Basically, the 2 small ones are his head and body, and then you use the larger one to cut the ears out. His little wee paws and his feet down the bottom. And then we're gonna cut him in beautiful cream cheese icing. And then I'll just tell you quickly, one of the decorations for his ears, you'll see Odette's picture. Did it have little Easter eggs in that one in your picture? So some of them.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, give me a second, Paula. Is this the one? Let me just see if I can share. Is that him?
Yes, that's him.
See if I can get him. There you go.
So cute. So for the little pink ears, we've actually just whizzed up some freeze-dried strawberries and made them into a powder using your milling speed 9 to 10 on the Thermomix until you've got like a nice powder, and then just mixed it with some coconut, desiccated coconut. So it's made this nice bright pink sort of decoration for his little pink ears. And then Lonnie's just sliced up some licorice for his eyes and a little strawberry nose. So after Bridie's done her icing, we will show you him all finished. So he's a little bit rustic, but he's super cute.
Here's his little nose. We just got a freeze-dried strawberry and we cut it off on the end, so we've got his little nose here.
Oh,
that is so cute.
So cute.
I was just quickly going to show you before I start. There's a company in Blenheim who bring in natural food colorings and sprinkles, and I'll pop the link up because if you're a little bit like Lonnie and Paula and I, just not really into letting my kids have food coloring. And yeah, they just use natural colorings. And here are the sprinkles. They're amazing. So we did an ice cream sundae bar for my son's 7th birthday. And finally, for the first time in their lives, they were allowed sprinkles. It was very exciting. So
what's the company called, Brydie?
It's called Naturally Cakes, and they ship around.
You popped it into the chat box.
Yeah. So my Thermomix has put itself to sleep. If you don't touch it for 15 minutes, it just turns off automatically, which is great because you don't actually have to remember to turn it off. Now it's just asking me if I'd like to go back to the recipe that I was making, which I would like to. What I like about this recipe is that because the ratio of cake goes with the ratio of buttercream, like you don't need to figure out doubling or anything like that. Like the cake is made, the recipe is designed for the cake and the buttercream to go together. So it's just asking me for 200 grams of butter. And there we go. I can hear everyone in the house getting ready to go fishing. And I've managed to get out of it by doing this. So I'm stoked. It's not really my thing. So, and now I'm just popping in icing sugar. So it's really, really easy to mill your own sugar, like Odette said before.
So yeah, 5 seconds speed 10 for caster sugar and 10 seconds speed 10 for icing sugar.
Cool. And yeah, you mentioned the bowl before. I don't know how anyone lives without a second bowl, but they have a wee price tag at the moment. They're $400 and something. So definitely the best way is just to use what's on your bench already. You've got a wee business on your bench, and you can earn them as a new consultant. It's the only way to get a deal on them. Apart from, actually, if you have bought a Thermomix in the last 6 months and you host a delivery cooking experience, you get a voucher for 20% off at the Mix Shop. So that's a great option as well. You can tell we love all the deals, don't we?
We love the free stuff. The
we
shiny,
love
shiny,
the free, shiny. Yeah. So it's all just going straight in. I don't need to worry too much. So my butter was just room temperature, because it's going to give it a really good mix. I don't think you need to be too fussy. And then it's just asking for vanilla. And just put that in there.
So this buttercream icing and the sponge cake that Brydie have made, they are good for any of the cakes in the Women's Weekly. And I know when we were growing up, often my mum would let us choose the number cakes because numbers are like the easiest option, and then she could kind of zhuzh them up and decorate them. And I feel like even if you don't have this book, if you go and you Google Women's Weekly birthday cakes, there are actually a lot of resources online. So even if you don't have one, you can still find how to take these sponges and take these buttercreams and turn them into those cakes. Oh, you muted yourself, Brydie.
I did. I'm just.
Oh, okay. You did it on purpose.
It's not actually too loud. It's on speed 4.
Yeah.
So I was actually going to whip up marshmallow this morning as well, because the cute little ghost cake, I think that would be really amazing. So if you haven't made marshmallow in your Thermomix, Odette will know because she's also really obsessed with
marshmallow. Is like in my top 5 things that I've ever made in my Thermomix.
It's such a hit. Like, so for Cooper's birthday party that we had with the ice cream sundae bar, I made a couple of batches of marshmallow. So I made the vanilla basic marshmallow, poured half out, made a nice white batch, and then with the remaining half, I actually used the food colouring to make it green, and I put in peppermint essential oil, and I made a peppermint, and then I cut it up. I cut it up really badly, and it was really ugly. So I actually sort of put it to the side. It
was rustic. It wasn't ugly, Brydie. It was
pretty ugly. But yeah, I put it to the side and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't put that on the table. So I didn't. And then partway through the party, it was discovered, and it was like the hit of the party.
Oh, I love it.
Popular. I was like, oh my gosh. But but it was
I loved it. Yeah.
Okay, this is amazing. Who has made buttercream without a Thermomix? Did it take you a minute? And did it look like this?
Ooh, yum.
I've actually, have you made the Swiss meringue buttercream?
I have.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh,
That
amazing.
is like, yeah, I'll actually, when I share Cookie Do, I'll show everybody that one because that one is one of my faves.
Yeah, so it's a little bit stressful if you don't know what to expect. So the first time I made it, so you whip up the meringue with the butter and everything, and then it's like a sloppy, gooey mixture that you cool down for a wee period, and then you whip it up, and it suddenly, again, it's like a magic trick. It really is amazing. If it's not cold enough, though, it won't whip up. So that happened to me. But someone had warned me. Oh, Lisa Hayes. So yeah, so I chucked it back in the fridge while I picked up my kids from school, and then I came back and it was taking its time to whip up and come together, but suddenly at the last minute it came together and it was amazing.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
So there's your buttercream, easy peasy.
Amazing. So impressed. So yeah, I would then could put some colouring in it. I don't know. Shall I maybe put some pink in?
Maybe. While you do that, I'll actually show everybody. So I'm just going to share my screen and show you Cookie Do. So for our owners, you'll be very, very familiar with Cookie Do. If you're not an owner yet, you probably haven't been introduced to the wonders of Cookie Do. Cookie Do is our online recipe platform. It's kind of like Netflix for recipes. So I think we are currently sitting on around 90,000 recipes from all over the world. And when you have a Cookie Do subscription, you have access to all of these recipes to be able to cook on your Thermomix. So everybody's entitled to 1 month's free access to Cookie Do. So even if you've never seen it before, you can go sign up at cookiedoo.com.au and just have a look around for 30 days. When you buy a Thermomix, you get another 6 months free subscription. And then after that, it's only $69 a year. So it's about $1.33 a week to have access to all these recipes. So if you are on Cookie Do, you can obviously go to your search bar and you can just search cake and, it'll bring up 1,409 recipes, which is kind of cool. But what I wanted to show you guys today is I wanted to show you in terms of the collections, what you could be looking at. So we obviously have some celebration cakes and those are kind of fancy. We have everyday cakes. We've got bundt cakes. But the collection that I actually want to talk to you about today, it's called Hip Hip Hooray. And it is actually it's a birthday cookbook and it's full of kids' party recipes. So there are 85 recipes for all sorts of things that you might need to get the party started. And this isn't the buttercream that you did, is it, Brydie? But there is a buttercream recipe in here. There's marshmallow icing, royal icing. You can make your own fondant. I've done that before and that was a lot of fun. But, any sorts of party foods. So if you do have little people in the house or people who are young at heart, because they don't have to be little people. I mean, I love my birthday and I like to have all sorts of party food. This is a great resource and, you will find lots of really cool stuff in here. The other collection that I would recommend, and for those of you who have Cookie Do, and you probably know this, you can save entire collections to your Cookie Do. So if I pressed save, this entire cookbook would come into my recipes and I would have access to it. The other collection, though, that I wanted to show you, sorry, I've got some very excited mini schnauzers in my house. The other collection is the Magnolia Kitchen collection. So Bernadette Betsky, she is one of our ambassadors and she is just a legend when it comes to cake baking. And these red velvet cake, amazing. And it actually has a cream cheese frosting here as well. But Brydie was just talking about the Swiss meringue buttercream. So this is one of my absolute favorites when it comes to icing. And so we've got some donuts in here as well. So this is a great collection to add if you are gearing up to make some cakes or, have some sort of a celebration. The other thing you can do when you're leafing through your Women's Weekly is you may need things like lollipops, which you obviously can make in your TM6. And you could even go on and make a lollipop cake. So lollipops using high heat, the sugar stages function. As Brydie said, you can also make marshmallow in your Thermomix. There you go, marshmallows, marshmallow pops if you wanted to, marshmallow crispy rice treats. So Cookie Doo is just an absolute wealth of information. And, you know, I wish that I had had Cookie Doo and a Thermomix when I had kids, because I did a lot of cakes and a lot of party prep that was much harder than it actually needed to be. So when you're searching in Cookie Doo, really easy to search using the using the search bar. And then, of course, really, really easy to add things to either your weekly planner. So, you know, little secret, it's my birthday on Tuesday and somebody might want to make me some marshmallows, so we might save that. And you can also do cool things like add to your shopping list. For those of you who are not familiar with Cookie Doo, you might like this. When you go into your week, you can actually see, oh, look there, on my birthday, someone's going to make me marshmallows. And I could go and have a look at the ingredients on my shopping list. And you can see I've been very busy. I've got lots of things on my shopping list. But the cool thing is you can go and tick things off. So we have cold water, obviously. I've got some vanilla bean paste and I have sugar. With the rest of our ingredients, we can actually share. So we can copy and paste that shopping list. And I might send it to my husband or somebody get me some shopping so I can cook for my birthday. And the other cool thing you can do is you can actually order your ingredients from the Countdown. So Cookie Doo syncs with the Countdown app, and you could either go and pick your ingredients up or you could have them delivered to your house. So Cookie Doo is pretty amazing. If you don't have Cookie Doo or you haven't seen it before, definitely go and sign up for that 30-day free trial, because I feel like you'll just be completely blown away. The other thing I'll show you quickly while the girls are icing that bunny to bring back and show you is I'll show you the mix shop. So the mix shop, if you go to thermomix.co.nz, you can go off to the mix shop and you can actually shop by bundles, etc., or you can just go straight to bakeware. And there's actually a whole section on cake decorating. And you can see some of the gorgeous rose gold stuff that the girls have been using today, but also things like our piping bag set, which is really great for decorating cakes. We've got some offset and flat icing spatulas. We've got some ruffle ball piping tips. So if you are somebody who loves decorating cakes or somebody who doesn't and wants to get better very quickly, you can go in here and you can search for some of the cool things that will help you to make better cakes. So yeah, all our bakeware, and there's even little baking bundles. So if you wanted to get things, the bundles tend to be a more reasonable way to purchase big quantities of things. So the cake turntable with the spatulas, and then Sweet Nourish, which is an amazing cookbook. And it's all about creating sweet treats that are a little bit better for you, not so much sugar and refined ingredients. So yeah, definitely go have a look at the mix shop, and definitely look at Cookie Doo as well. Right, how are those girls going with that bunny? I feel like they, oh, there they are. Let's see, let's get them back.
Bearing in mind that I've been icing with one hand.
And normally we would put him in the fridge and let the first icing coat set and then do another coat. So we had a very rustic.
It's looking good.
We'll fix him up and we'll take a good photo of him.
Take a good photo.
Oh, he's cute.
Yeah, haven't done his little decorations for his nose and things yet. But
we could do that while we're here with you if you want.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's see how you decorate it.
So I actually bought these licorice things. So I don't know, can you still get the long things of the licorice, the strips that we used to use years ago?
I think I got them like night.
Yes,
used to come in a yellow.
Yeah.
Brydie, somebody's just asked, Shirley's just asked if we can have the recipe link for the buttercream icing. Can you pop that in our little chat, or pop it in here for everybody so that they know which one you used?
Absolutely. It's actually part of the cake recipe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I just bought this and sliced these pieces into lots of little bits like this. And we'll use them to make the whiskers and the little paws. Paula at the moment is popping the freeze-dried strawberry and desiccated coconut mix on his ears. And then we've obviously got the little freeze-dried raspberry nose. I cut the rounds of the licorice into eyes. And I did actually buy some dark chocolate that I was going to potentially cut up for whiskers, which you could do if you didn't want the licorice for all the additives. I figured because there's only a few pieces of licorice on there, it would be easy to pull off if you didn't want your children having sugary stuff. And of course it does make it look quite realistic, like your whiskers. Oh, this is looking cute. I'll show you the ears. Paula's just done. Yeah, maybe.
I don't want him to slide off. Oh, that's cute.
I don't want him to slide off, but you can
Yum.
take a photo and we'll post it on our socials later.
Yeah.
Should we pop all our socials up in the chat box actually? So
Yeah, so I will so I'll pop some socials up. So this is me. Lonnie, you are Little Bear Food.
Yep. How far down?
Paula,
Paula's whole plate.
Paula's whole plate. And Brydie Jane. There you go. Perfect. So I love that. And you could sprinkle them with coconut, couldn't you? If you wanted to make him fluffy.
Bunny.
A fluffy bunny.
Yeah, you could absolutely do that. Oh, we've put his nose and eyes on. He looks like a little bunny.
I love that. Very cute. You guys are you'll be so popular today because you have this beautiful cake to share. What are you going to use it for?
Stuffing.
We're going to eat. No, Lonnie's going to take half home for her kids, and then I've actually got my in-laws coming around for dinner here tonight, so we'll have it for dessert.
Are you going to cut him straight down the center so you've each got half a bunny, or what are you going to do with them?
About that.
You can have
Oh
yeah.
no, we're half down the centre.
Oh, he looks so cute.
I reckon half down the center.
Oh, do you want to see him? We've done his whiskers.
Cute. Let me see if you can hold them
They're
up.
actually a bit long. If I did it again, and if I had two hands, I'd probably slice those whiskers, just trim them down a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, he looks really cute.
I could pick this up, maybe.
Yeah. Bring him over. Oh, he's cute.
He's gorgeous. Excuse our mess.
Very cute. And he will taste amazing. And I love that he's a bunny and he's made of carrots.
Yeah,
It's kind of cute.
Of course. I'm glad you made that connection.
Yeah. I love that. So guys, hopefully this has inspired you and it's given you some options for making the cake, making the icing. If you don't have the book, as I said, if you do a little Google, I'm sure you can find them online. And yeah, I hope this was of service and you enjoyed it. We definitely, Bridie's got her cake. Hang on a second. Here we go. Let me add her. Oh, it looks good, Brydie.
Yeah, looks perfect. To be honest, I should have just done it as per the recipe in 2 different tins because it rose a lot more than I expected.
You could just slice it in half if you wanted, and
yeah. But yeah, next time just follow instructions.
It does sometimes help if you just follow the instructions. So I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us for an hour and seeing how you can create these cakes at home. Thanks Lonnie and Paula for sharing some of your tips and Brydie sharing some of your tips for reducing the amount of sugar and coloring and all those sorts of things, because sometimes it's really hard. Oh, Jackie wants to know the apple cider vinegar. Can you tell us how much to put in and what does it do before we go?
So Brydie just mentioned that before. So the apple cider vinegar reacts with the baking soda and actually creates more bubbles. So especially in sponges, it makes it a lot lighter and a lot airier, a lot fluffier. I just usually do a capful of
I just did a capful, and I usually try and aim it for the baking powder or baking soda, wherever it, and then you'll just see it fizz up. Yeah, it softens the flavor as well of the baking soda.
Perfect. Excellent. So yeah, thanks for hopping on with us. If you would like more information about adding a Thermomix to your life, about joining the team and getting to hang out with these lovely ladies on a regular basis and have fun, or hosting a cooking experience of your own, either virtual or in person, then definitely reach out to your consultant for more information. We love to help. But yeah, we hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope that this inspires you to go and create your own little birthday cake creation. So thanks, Lonnie, Paula, and Brydie, and thanks everybody for hopping on, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks. Goodbye.
She's just checking out the cake.
I
Look,
know.
she's got her eyes on it.
Should we stop the recording?
Oh yeah. Got to work out how to do it. Stop up. Hang on, more.
He's so cute.
Oh, yeah, we didn't.